Hello, hello, friends. Have you been contemplating your look, how you're presenting yourself, how you're putting yourself out there, and wondering what kind of impression you have that you're making? Are you wondering if you could be showing up in a bigger, bolder way? Do you feel like you've got your headshots from 10 years ago and it's served you well, but you need a fresher look and you're wondering, what are the best strategies to be thinking about as you're considering putting yourself out there? Or maybe you want to do it and you've been hesitating a little bit and you just need a little pep talk to help get you through and guide you through what to consider as you are looking for a photographer. I've been hosting this wonderful 2025 sales and marketing success interview series because I've been witnessing over the last year so many changes in sales and marketing, and there are so many aspects of it. But I've brought together some of my trusted friends to share what they've been witnessing in their world. And today I have an amazing person that you need to know about because she's just stellar at what she does and how she helps you show up as the best version of you. So let me tell you who Lindsay is for me. Lindsay is a phenomenal photographer. Not only does she capture your image, but she supports you with really being your true self as she's capturing you. She helps you be at ease. She gives you all the tips and tricks and understands the different ways that you need to consider how you might be using these photos so that you have all the tools in your tool chest for expressing yourself visually with confidence. Did I capture that correctly, Lindsay? Is that
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you so much. That's
You're
awesome.
welcome. So I've shared who you are for me, but perhaps you can
Mhm.
tell us a little bit more about yourself, your background, your experience, and the wisdom that you bring forth
Yeah.
to this conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, my name is Lindsay Sullivan. I'm the founder and CEO of the Small Business Photographer. And I love helping heart centered entrepreneurs attract their dream clients with brand images that really capture that personality, that inner essence, tell their story, and help them stand out from their competition. I've done a bunch of different types of photography, but what I really love about brand photography is helping people feel more confident in front of the camera. I actually found when I started my business, I didn't actually have any good photos of myself, you know, and I cringed at the idea of getting photos done because I had never had photos of myself that I thought looked good. I didn't think I was photogenic, but I knew as a photographer and as a business owner, I needed good photos, So I ended up getting them done with a professional photographer. And for me, it was actually a transformational experience because I realized I actually was photogenic. You just needed a good photographer who could relax you, get those really authentic smiles coming through, had flattering poses, knew what lenses to use in the camera and those kinds of things to help you get flattering photos. Because I'd only ever had photos done by friends and family, and they didn't really know, some of the tips and tricks to get flattering photos. And so I found that once I had photos that I loved, I suddenly could step out and be visible. I could give photos to podcast hosts and event hosts, and I didn't have that cringy feeling. I was actually excited to share those photos, to show them on social media, to put them on networking directories, like wherever it is you need photos for your business. And there are a lot of places, you know. I was really excited about that. So I thought, you know what? I want to do this for other business owners as well. I want to help them, realize that they're photogenic and also help them get visible because that if I help them get visible, they can attract more of their dream clients, and together, we can all really impact the world in a positive way. So
Mm,
that's my story of how I got into brand photography.
oh, I love it. I love it. So, over the last year, there have been so many changes in marketing. How has the photography world and how people use their brand
Mhm.
photography, how has that evolved? What have you witnessed?
Yeah, there's a couple different things, because we've got AI out there, and there's some awesome ways to use AI. But I think having brand photography is really, really helpful because people want to see the real person behind the business, not just stock photos, not just random AI images. They want to see the real person behind the business. And so that can really help establish trust. So if you have images of yourself on your website, on your banner, in your social media, good photos of you on LinkedIn, on your business cards, and your email signature, every place you put images with your face, with eye contact, and professional images that look good, but have your authentic smile coming through, that really helps people get to know, basically that know, like, trust factor that you hear about, right? So really establishing that deep connection with people. And then another thing a lot of my clients have been doing is getting like personal brand photos done. So we'll do the business shots as well as them working with clients, professional headshots, the typical, like, you know, photos for their business. But we also bring in that personal element of things they like to do outside of work, whether it's reading a book or going for a walk and being in nature or arranging flowers or whatever it is that their hobbies are, their loves, things like that. When you start to use some of those images on social media, people connect to you more deeply as a person. So you're not just the business owner, the service provider. Suddenly you're a person that maybe even has similar hobbies, similar interests. So you feel it removes some of that barrier, of, this is just a professional person. It's like, well, they're also a person that I feel like I can connect deeply with. So that's another element. Yeah.
Have you noticed any changes in, like, where you're doing photo shoots because of that? Or are there new types of studios that are opening up that allow for that variety of backdrop or ways of
Yeah.
demonstrating?
That's a good question. I haven't found it actually has changed because my style of brand photography, we are very selective in the background. So it's been like that since I've started my business. And so the key is picking backgrounds that tell the story. So for example, I recently worked with a client he has a business where he teaches people how to create children's books, how to publish children's books. And so we actually ended up doing a bunch of his brand photos we have this really amazing central library in Calgary with gorgeous, like, really cool windows and a beautiful, like, architectural interior plus books. you know so that actually was a great place to do a lot of his images because it told the story of being of creating books for kids. Of course, we brought in a bunch of his props, a bunch of his books that he created, laptops, those kinds of things to kind of tell the story of him being a publisher, a book creator, an illustrator, that kind of stuff. And we do sometimes at their home as well, depending on the client. So that kind of home environment, or you can even rent an Airbnb. Like one of my clients, she's a therapist and she goes to people's homes for therapy, which is unusual because most people go to the therapist's office, but she goes to them. So we rented an Airbnb and then we brought in some of her brand colors in the decor. So we brought in, some things in her blues and purples and added in the colors, but we did her session in the Airbnb. So a lot of her photos are what I'd call more of a lifestyle vibe. So her sitting on a couch or her, leaning up against the wall by the windows or in the kitchen or those kinds of things. And
Mhm.
so and even meeting with clients at the kitchen table where because she does a lot of art therapy with them, so them actually doing art therapy in her, just as if she was in their home, right?
Yeah.
And so that kind of speaks to the story of what she does, the environment, and people look at that and they can see themselves there. So I would
Mm.
say it's not necessarily different over the last year, but it's definitely something to think about when it comes to your photography, is what locations really speak to what you do, where you work with clients, your story, and that sort of thing.
What are some of the things that you find stop people as you're talking to
Mhm.
potential clients, or even somebody's said, yes, I want to work with you, and maybe they hesitate on picking the date, or they hesitate on the next step that
Mhm.
they need to give you for maybe the shot list. What do you find is stopping people and having them hesitate with being visible?
I think there's a couple things. I think the major thing that stops people is they don't feel comfortable in front of the camera and they don't believe that they're photogenic. Like they've not had good photos of themselves. And so they're like, oh, my nose is too big, or I've got a little too much weight on right now, or, just different things like that can really prevent them from wanting to get in front of the camera. They've never had good photos, so they just assume the photos are just going to be okay, for them, and they're not going to like them. I mean, I was the same myself when I went to go get photos. I didn't actually think I was going to get good photos. I was just like, well, I have to do this. I'll get some decent photos. I didn't realize I get photos I'd love,
Mhm.
But so I think that stops them because they're a little bit concerned about their weight. That's a huge thing that people often say is like, I'm just worried about my weight, or I'm carrying a few extra pounds right now, or those kinds of things. I don't really like my smile. So sometimes it can be deep on a deeper level of how they see themselves. And so
Mm,
part of what we do is kind of work through, a couple of things that can help with that
mhm.
is just remembering that you're beautiful right now, because you are beautiful right now. You're photogenic. Maybe it just takes a photographer who knows the right angles and can get you some flattering photos. Maybe it's a stylist to help you get clothes that flatter you, that make you look awesome, that you feel amazing in, those kinds of things, or simple things like, affirmations to give you confidence before your shoot, or meditation. Like I always start my clients off for brand photography with a little meditation to ground them and remind them why
Mm,
we're doing this, get connected to the why, who they're helping, and remember that the good photos of yourself will mean that more people are going to see you. They're going to see the real you. They're going to be attracted to you, come learn more about you, and then you can help more people. So I kind of like to really help them realize that it's more than just getting good photos. It's like, what is the end result? The end result is to attract more of your dream clients so you can help more people. And of course, bring in some great income at the same time. But it's really that ultimate why, remembering your why, and how
yeah.
photography can help with that.
Yeah, it's fascinating. So like I have my program Ready to Be Seen, and this is
Mm,
kind of related. I remember one of the participants, one of her goals was to do a Facebook Live for being seen
mm,
out there and having her face out
yeah.
there. And
Hmm.
it took a lot of courage for her to do that
Yes,
very first Facebook Live. So
exactly.
so many stories and that can go and loop in your head. And
Hmm.
if there's anybody here that is watching now, or maybe you're catching the replay, and maybe you've been contemplating for some time, or you've had the thought in your mind, I really need to get new images that reflect who you are. Maybe you did pictures 5 years ago, even 2 years
Yeah,
ago, and you have grown and evolved. There is something about the energy of where you are now being
yeah.
captured in those images.
Hmm.
I know that I look
Hmm.
at some images from, gosh, 2019. I've done a few shots here and there since then. I haven't done a full photo shoot yet, but I look at my pictures from 2019. It's just like, I loved who I was then, but I
Yeah,
feel different now. And yeah,
that's a
it's
good.
fascinating. Well,
Yeah.
you even share that though in your introduction in what you say that you do,
Hmm.
really capturing somebody's essence. And I think that
Hmm.
that is something that is so important right now. A big theme that I've been hearing in these conversations so far is around that authenticity. So
Yes.
I know that
Hmm.
sometimes I still see those standard headshots, and it's just like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh. And I don't know if it's just that person feeling that tense or nervous that that's all that they got,
Yeah.
or if it's the person that they were working with, or a combination. Maybe there wasn't the right connection there. But
Yeah.
it's so important to be working with
It
somebody
is.
that
Hmm.
creates that space and helps to put you at ease so you can.
Exactly. Yeah, because the energy you have coming into it too. That's actually kind of funny, because one of the things I recommend to people, I send them a little checklist with, it's like kind of like a guide of things to do before the shoot, and just things like something simple like putting your clothes in the car the night before so they're all organized and ready to go. Because oftentimes there's multiple outfits for a brand photography shoot to get
Yeah,
variety,
yeah,
props and all that kind of stuff, and getting all that stuff ready early enough that you're not racing around like a maniac, because that energy, when you bring that into your shoot, that's going to show up in the photos too. I mean, we will do the grounding meditation to kind of help calm things, but there's a lot of things you can do before the shoot to kind of, a meditation and things like that to just kind of calm you down, get that energy, bring out that, that femininity, that divine essence kind of thing. And yeah.
yeah. Because this is an investment in
Hmm.
capturing your energy visually to
Hmm.
connect in with your potential clients, to capture what it is that you're here to do, and to, yeah, just draw the right people in.
Yes.
And so if
Hmm.
you are in that uncomfortable state, yeah, it absolutely is felt
Hmm.
on the receiver end for sure. That's
Yeah.
fantastic. Mm,
That's actually a
now,
great point too that you mentioned about, attracting the right clients too. Like you want to attract certain people that you want to work with, that you're excited to work with, and having that right energy. Like if you're portraying yourself as something different, like even posing, for example, like if you're doing power poses and stern looks and stuff like that, that's not going to attract. If you're actually warm and approachable, and you're trying to attract clients who can be vulnerable with you, that know that they need, let's say a therapist, for example. There's
Mhm.
you don't want to go with the the
You don't want to have a
executive
picture of you
power
wagging your
poses.
finger for sure.
Yeah. Or like hands on the hips, or like arms crossed.
Yeah.
Like there's certain
Oh,
poses that
yeah.
actually can communicate certain things. And sometimes that's fine depending on who, what your story is that you're trying to tell, but you really need to keep in mind the clients and who's going to be attracted to certain poses. Do you want more of an approachable pose? Do you want to bring out that approachability, or do you want, executive, CE? Like it kind of depends. It depends on what your story is, but it's really important to think of that, because that will, your energy and your poses and those kinds of things will influence who's attracted to the photo, and you as a service provider.
Is there anything else that you would say that you do to help put people at ease as they're thinking about it or they're starting to work with you? Like, are there other things that other
Mm,
tools or resources that you talk about or?
yeah. Yeah, so for me, for the brand photography, a lot of the magic comes from the strategy and planning beforehand. If I just show up and take photos, and we often will get photos that will meet your needs, for marketing. So it's really important to do some strategy beforehand and look at things like, okay, what stories do you want to tell? Do you need photos for a new landing page? Do you have a new launch coming up? Do you want photos for holidays? Like I had one client where we did Christmas photos in July,
Oh,
so
wow.
they'd be ready to give out, send out Christmas cards in December. You
Yes.
know, so it's kind of looking at, really being strategic, and also being like, okay, what kind of images do we want? We want me working with clients. Okay, who are we going to bring in to be the client? Is it going to be a friend or family member? Do they fit the client avatar that you're
Mm.
trying to attract? Like, so there's a lot of strategy that goes into it. So I do, I send out a questionnaire to get to really know the brand on a deep level. So they fill that out. I put together a storyboard with ideas and composition and themes, and then we meet on Zoom to chat about it and really figure
Mm.
out the key shots we need and locations and all of that. So I would say that's, if they work with someone like that, like me, who can do that, that's also going to put some of their fears at ease, because sometimes it's just overwhelming. They go, I know I need brand photos, but I don't really know what locations, what outfits, what props, those kinds of things. And so it's really good if you can work with someone who can provide those resources and that
Mm.
direction, because then it takes the pressure off. Yeah.
Mm. So good. So good. I love it.
Mhm.
Now, you also have a great resource that you have for us. Can you
Mhm.
tell us a little bit more about it?
Yeah, so I wanted to give some tips on how to feel more confident in front of the camera. So yeah, it's just like some of them are kind of really simple things, like bringing a fun playlist. Like I just did a shoot on Saturday, and my client put together a playlist, and oh yeah, and the link is down on the bottom there, so you guys can go check that out at um, bit.ly/confidence tips 10. And yeah, and so just a few tips on how to, like, relax and be more confident from the camera, some affirmations you can use, other things that you can do to actually just feel more confident in front of the camera. But yeah, even bringing a fun playlist can relax you. Like my client brought this awesome playlist, and it was empowering, and she just loved it, and just could see her relax as soon as she put it on. So,
Oh, yeah. That's for
little
sure.
tips.
Music is so powerful for just
Mhm.
helping us to get in the zone. I love it.
Yeah,
That sounds like a really
exactly.
great resource.
Mhm.
And if you feel like you know that you need to be out there and maybe you feel like you're stepping into something bigger in your business and you know that
Mhm.
a new photo shoot's going to help you, but there's something inside and you can't quite put your finger on it of what there is that might be stopping you. We do get into this in my free upcoming training on January 29th. Simplify your sales and visibility to boost your revenue. And this is going to help you with getting some insights on maybe you've had some goals of for sales and marketing reached or impact that you want to make in the past, and maybe you've made some progress but you just keep hitting this invisible ceiling. I'm going to help you with understanding what's really going on the inside and behind the scenes of what's preventing you and how you can break through. You'll learn the different types of resistance that stops most entrepreneurs and then which one is impacting you right now, so you know what you can do to be able to move through that and do wonderful things, get your message out there in a more magical way. So the oopsies, I didn't share that. The link to that is down below, jlyle.com/simplify sales. And again, it's on January 29th. So I hope you'll continue to join us in the next couple of interviews as well. We have two more coming up on Tuesday and Thursday. We're going to be getting into sales. We're going to be getting into how to become that lighthouse leader with that big message and stop hiding. And you are going to absolutely love the transformation that you start to recognize as you start to step into these next versions of you and stop hiding in your business. So please join us for the future interviews as well. Thank you, Lindsay, so much for being here. I really appreciate you. I really appreciate everything that you're doing and helping people with being out there and being seen in their business and really sharing their impact, making their impact and sharing what they do so beautifully.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for having me. I love talking about confidence in front of the camera and helping people feel, more confident and get out there so they can be visible. So thank you.
Awesome. Perfect. Have a great day, everyone. Bye for now.
Bye, everyone.